Frankly, I have to say I've designed about now, I don't know, it's got to be close to 4,000 objects, I would say. I don't think of this as a job, and what I mean by that is, it is a job, but it's also something I was destined to do. So I'm here on this planet to kind of contribute in this way, whatever contribution I can do. But with that contribution comes responsibility. And the responsibility is for me to do something that's right, you know, for the time. Design is a commercial act. So on one hand, we want to believe that we're these kind of creative genii and we wave a wand and we have an idea and all that. And that's the kind of media dissemination of the profession. The reality is, though, is to be a good designer, I think ideally, it's not about waving a wand and having a great idea. It's about knowing, having so much knowledge about that specific thing or object or space, you know. And when the more knowledge you have, for example, if I'm going to design a chair for a company, I visit their factory and I understand the technology and I understand the machinery and I love machinery, I love production, and I think I know every machine out there. The more you know of that stuff, the minute you put pen to paper, that line is informed. You know, it's not a naive idea, or it's not like a personal idea or a selfish idea, or I love that kind of form or that shape or any of that. No, it's kind of full of, it's informed form. The form I put down has come from a bunch of criteria. Even thinking at that moment when I put the pencil on the paper about the exact polymer or the type of glass or all those things. Or thinking about when you design a sofa that if you know the knowledge of the way that sewing and pattern making and all that is, that's very different than making a shape, showing a shape to a company, and then next thing you know, they're like, A, trying to figure it all out, and B, it kind of possibly is going to lose some sense of essence of what you wanted because you just are not knowledgeable enough. So it's a real profession that's based on a kind of real balance of left and right brain, that you're really a bit mechanical and a bit engineering driven and a bit understanding of those factors. At the same time, you are socially responsive and you love people and want people to kind of embrace and enjoy and experience your things. But a lot of design gets sort of lost in all that. It's a little bit like, the word design, it's a bit sometimes like a game, or it's that you're making some object that has a statement, or it's a metaphor, or it's an analogy, or it's a one-liner, or it's like, oh, I get it. Styling is when you look into history and copy history, and designing is when you look into the future and shape the future. I look at you and the way you're dressed, and I can't help but think, this is the age we live in. We live in a casual age, right? Very, very much so. So our shoes and our pants, all these things that are around us need to be casual. They need to be softer and more engaging. I mean, my mobile phone at this point in time shouldn't be a precious object. It should be a rubbery, soft thing, just like my Nikes are. You know, it should have that same kind of technology. Imagine if tomorrow Nike was making a mobile phone. You know, maybe it has some sort of like, or when you touch it or you squeeze it, when I squeeze it, you feel your phone squeezed in your pocket and we can engage each other. You know, have this kind of sensorial, beautiful world that's connected, but it's connected in a very seamless way, very casual way. If you're going to design, that's design today. And design is really, I think, shaping, the future of the way we're gonna go. The driving factor for me is to next chair or next couch or next pen or next watch or next laptop or anything. I'm always trying to make it better than the last project. Sometimes some object, and a lot of times you're not really sure why, hits a moment where it seems like the consumer responds very well to it, the manufacturer responds well, the press respond well, or the music, it all kind of somehow, it's touching somehow humanity. Let's say I designed a wastebasket called Garbo in 1994, 95. And at that time, the plastic wastebasket generally around the world was a pretty banal thing. It was one of those objects that wasn't really addressed by design. you know, and even and over the years, we're seeing that everything now is being touched by design, even light switches, a thermostat, all these kind of banal objects, you know, that are around us. And so when I did it, it was probably the right timing in a way because it needed some sort of push. And then the object itself, the way I designed it, it's really super functional. And the way it comes off the machine, I designed it for the process, for injection molding. So the way I designed it, it makes the plastic flow very fast and very efficient, which made the object then then you could produce more in a machine over a 24-hour period, which means the price point even went down further. So I made a very democratic object that to date, I think they've sold 12, 13 million of them, something, maybe more. And what's nice is it became iconic in the sense that even with all the knockoffs around, somehow the object still sells extremely well. So that's one of those. And those things don't happen that often, obviously. And in a way, you could argue that it even becomes more and more difficult for that to happen now because of the way time works. You know, it was a time when things had an opportunity to mature, you know. But today, it's an inundation of market, you know. So and there's a saturation, you could argue, of every typology that we have. So it's a little harder, I think, for, let's say, objects to become so iconic.